through, create some activities. I'll show you how that works. We'll create classes. You can either create real classes, or I'll just show you. It takes just a minute to create classes, and then I'll show you how to assign and share an activity, and then I'll walk you through actually what it will look like if you all are. I'll show you on my screen the teacher version, and you all can pretend to be students as we do this. So you can see what it's like from the student's perspective, and then you can also see what it's like from the teacher perspective. And then at the end, if there are any questions, I'm glad to stick around and answer those questions as well. So let's just jump in. And hey, hello team. So let me start off. De nada, con mucho gusto. And let's just jump in. So if you all can just go to teacher.desmos.com on your web browser, and it'll work on any web browser. Microsoft Edge, I've heard, doesn't work as well with Desmos, and I have no idea why that's the case. But yeah, if you hop on, and I'm just going to assume you're there. The next thing that you'll do is up here in the upper right-hand corner, it should. Here, I'll log off so you can see. It should say something along the line. I think it says a green button. It says create an account. Yeah, create an account. So if you don't have an account, go ahead and just click on that. And then all you have to do is log in using a Gmail account. So I would log in using whatever Gmail account. If you have one through school, then I would log in using that one. And I'm going to click on just sign in, and if you've already done it, all you have to do is click on sign in with Google, and just mine work. So get all these folks in. So you just click my work email address, and I'm in. So that's all. That is literally all you have to do to create an account. So that doesn't even take a minute. I guess I did skip the intro. So the intro is I was this my friend Brett shared the Desmos website with me at the beginning of the school year, and he said, you have to check this out. This is life-changing. It's amazing. I didn't check it out. Or I looked at it, but I just thought, I can't add another thing. I've already got enough going on. I love the Google Forms. This is going great. Fast forward a month and a half or so, and I decided, let me try this with a couple of my classes. So I tried it for a couple of classes with my students, and I immediately knew that I will likely never stop using Desmos. Or if a better product comes out that's very similar to Desmos, that's fine with me too. But I will never again teach in person or virtually without having a tool that allows me to see what every single one of my students is doing on a minute-by-minute basis. Wow. In a world language, it is just incredibly powerful, because I teach using comprehensible input. And so as I'm teaching, I can either ask questions on the fly to check for comprehension, and students can type in their answers. I can have some questions created ahead of time. I can ask them to summarize the information in Spanish if it's a higher level. I can have them summarize the information in English if it's a lower level. And I can constantly see who is where, who is understanding. If I'm going too fast, I don't know if you all ever did this, but in my classes, I used to always say, okay, guys, hold up your crossed fingers if you don't understand what I'm saying. And that works for like the first week or two, and then till kids just stop doing it and you keep encouraging them. And so I never have to do that. I don't ever have to say, I do ask them at the end, just one sec, Inger, I'll answer that question. Thank you so much. I do ask them at the end how much they understood, but that's more for self-reflection. So, and the answer is that you can have them see each other's answers, but you do not have to. I normally do not, but when I do, I almost always anonymize them. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's jump in. I've already skipped. We already created the teacher account. If you weren't with me, it's just go to teacher.desmos.com, click create, go in through your Gmail. Now, what I thought I would do is I've created this from another teacher. I used some of her resources, and I created an activity. An activity is like if you were to have a lesson plan and a bunch of questions in that lesson plan, then the activity would comprise all of those questions. So I created an activity with check-ins, closings, and other templates that I like to use over the course of the school year. So I can just copy and paste these different screens into my activities. So each one of these is called a screen. I'm not going to spend much time on this. I hope to do this in about 3 minutes. So I am going to fly through it, but just to give you an idea of the breadth and variety of activities that you can do with students. You'll also see that there's a strong emphasis on checking in and some reflection. And the reason for that is because I like to do that every single class. It's not that you would use more than you wouldn't ask them to draw how they're doing and then to multiple choice select how they're doing, as you can imagine. So this is the first one. You can have students draw if you want to. This question has a space for students to draw. It says, how do you feel? Draw how you feel, write a sentence in Spanish. They use this image, and you can type whatever sentence. Okay. Another one. There's another check-in. How are you feeling today? They drag the point. I'm feeling energetic and positive. Would you like to say more? Okay. This is a multiple choice question. I'll show you how to create. How are you feeling today? Doing well. Okay. How are you feeling today? This was something that Desmos created. Just kind of neat and say more. Again, wouldn't use all of these. I would only use one or two, but this is another combined image and drawing. And I shared these, but I can share these again, this whole presentation. Check in, what would you like me to know? This is just very basic. This is, here is a text box. Tell me how you're feeling. And of course, put it in Spanish, put it in French, English, German, Japanese, whatever. What's new? Okay, these are all just text input. Okay, what's the temperature like today? They choose what the temperature is like.
Great.
You can make it either multiple choice or you can make it multiple selection. What graph best represents your stress level? Okay, explain your thinking. Great. Then you can dive into a conversation with them about this. Make a sketch of your energy level over the past couple of weeks. Okay, why? Hey, then what I would do if I wanted to spend time on this and I didn't just want to know it for myself, this is a great jumping off point in, oh, it looks like 5 of you guys are doing so well right now. And that is wonderful. What's going on with you? And then they could type their answer here, and then I can report back what they've said, but report back what they've said in Spanish in English, and I can report it back in Spanish. You know, there are tons of things. We're all creative in different ways, and you all, I'm sure, would think of much better ways to use this than I've ever even thought of, which is the reason I created this Facebook group, is because I want to learn from others, and I want to share Desmos because it has been incredibly impactful in my teaching this year, and I know that it will continue to be. So agree, disagree. Okay, objectives for the day. You know, if you're using stepping stones, which I highly, highly, highly recommend, it's like stepping stones revolutionized my life, and then Desmos equally okay, life is a little bit dramatic. My teaching career, and then Desmos did the same. So let's see. Brain break. I always do brain breaks every day. Normally I do mindfulness or heartfulness or breathing techniques, which I've recorded a couple of videos. I'd be glad to share those or record more. And you can put a text option with a multiple choice option. Okay, this has taken me 4 minutes already. So I'll try and actually I'll ask you all. In the chat, can you say if you'd like me to kind of go quickly through this or slow down, or this pace is okay? So faster, slower, or okay, if you want to. Okay, so this will probably take me another 5 minutes to get through. So again, you could, in Spanish, you could have them have a picture, and then they have to select all the adjectives. That was just something I did just to give you ideas of the activities you could do. Reading workshop, if you're using stepping stones, this is what I almost always do. It's just basically write what you understand. And sometimes I'll say in Spanish, sometimes I'll say in English. You can ask questions. I'll show you how to get these images in. It takes like 30 seconds to a minute if you have the material already created. Okay, listen to a song while listening. So you play a song, and while you're listening, it says underline or highlight any phrases. So, wow. Oh, I understood this. I did not get that. And now I, as the teacher, when I view it, I can see it either individually or overlaid. So I can immediately see all of the words students use. Now you can imagine this would be beautiful for so many different activities because all it is an image. So let's say you have, I don't know, a scavenger hunt. You have an image of a picture of the park and people doing a bunch of different activities. And you talk about one person and you say, so draw, I've never done this. I like to say, draw a circle around the person who is doing X, Y, or Z. You immediately check in, you know what they understand. Okay. You all get the idea. How do you feel about how do you feel about the father of the dad? Okay, this is something else I want to show you that's really neat about Desmos. So this is the student view. I have the question here, and there's some code, super simple. I don't code at all, but I figured it out in like a minute, that you can get it. So you add placeholders. So students, you might ask them to do 3 things in one question, and you don't want them to get confused, because I used to say, okay, number 1 through 5. And then you're always going to get 3 students who forget to write all the way through 5 or go through 10. So you can just add placeholders. So anyways, I'll show how to do that as well. Matching, you can do matching activities. These can self-correct, or you can make it such that students, so it can tell the students if they've gotten them all right or not. You as a teacher can determine that. But that's kind of like once you get in, yeah, I'll show you how to do some matching activities. This is just an activity where I match the correct photo with each description. And then again, I can be looking real time at my students and knowing and I can see if they're getting this or not. So I don't have to wait until the end of class, collect their papers, and then see, oh shoot, my students had no idea what I was saying that whole time. No, I can see it real time. All right, I need to slow down, make this more comprehensible. Bookit, this is just, sometimes when I use Bookit or Gimkit or something, students, I don't do anything with this, but by virtue of asking the question, how many questions did you answer correctly, it makes everybody think that I'm actually looking at it. The way I reply to them real time is verbally, 100% verbal, because it's just so much faster. And if you watch one of the videos that I have, and Brett's the same, Brett Chonko has videos as well, in the tutorial document that's the top of the Facebook page, you'll see that I give constant feedback. So a student will be writing, I'll say, great, oh, excellent, okay, in Spanish, muy bien, John, muy bien, Jessica, muy bien, Tori, escribe más, write more, Jaquan, escribe más, etc. And it's, you can do written you can do written comments, but it just takes longer. Okay, so this is the write and discuss. I'll just skip through these. All right, another place where they can write it. Is there anything you want to share with me? Did you complete this by yourself without a translator? What did you think of the lesson? Oh, I really liked it. No, I didn't. Can you say more about why? How much Spanish did you understand? I always have this question at the end of the input. How much Spanish did you understand? And then closing, how did you feel about this lesson? This is super important to me too, because it lets me see how I'm doing and how students perceive that I'm doing as a teacher. And I think that it allows them to know that they have a voice in the class. Okay. Next thing, what went well this class? Did you do well this class? What could you do to learn more Spanish next class? Okay, I'm gonna take a break, and now what we're going to do is, I thought, if you all would like to, you can just follow along with me on my screen, but some people really like to get in and do it at the same time. So if you would like to, you can create an activity with me right now. If you find it difficult to multitask in that regard, then just watch and you can do this later, because I'll be going relatively fast. So first, just out of interest in time, the way you create an activity is you go over here to custom. Let me see if I have my trusty screen. Yep, right there, to custom, and just click on custom. And once you click on custom, it'll take you here. Now what we're going to do is create a new activity. So you can see in the upper right hand corner right here, new activity, and then just title the new activity. So I'll just call this Desmos Demo, I don't know, 23rd, I think. Yeah, tomorrow's the 24th. All right, create new activity. You could add an activity description. I never do. Okay, create new activity. And Jen, yeah, I said that about the Brett and I always saying things verbally. I may not have included those portions. Honestly, I'm not sure if I included those portions. So we might not have even done it in those, the parts that we shared. Okay, so what I thought I would do first is show you how to create a question with a couple of different components. So I'm going to show you how I create a question and include a graphic, so piece of media, because you can also import videos, which I've never done, but would be cool. And then I'm also going to put in a space for students to answer, a space for students to do whatever it is that I ask them to do. So I'm just going to put here reading. I'm not normally I'll put instructions, because normally I put the instructions there, but of the interest in time I won't. I'll click here to click on media. That pops up a box here. I'll use that in just a second. Text input. This is what I use most often. This allows students to write in there. I should pause and say at the end of this, towards the end of this class, I'm going to share this with you all, and then you all will be able to write in this activity, and you'll be able to see again what it's like from my end as a teacher. Okay, so choose the file. Before you can choose the file, you need a file to choose from. So I wanted to show you how I do it on a Mac. PC, there's obviously a very similar way to do this, but I'm going to take a screenshot of this, just a portion. On a Mac, it's Command-Shift-4. Just one second, someone's hopping in. Okay, so Command-Shift-4, and then this will screenshot it to my desktop. So I've done that. Now I'm going to go back to the activity builder, to Desmos. Oops, sorry, wrong Desmos. There we go. I'll choose file to upload. I already have it so that it automatically goes to my desktop. So this is my desktop. Choose that file. You can see today at 5:17. Open. Done. So the image is there. That's all you have to do aside from adding instructions. I always uncheck this. There says show students their classmates' responses. I don't know exactly what that even looks like from the student end, because I always have it unchecked, because I want to kind of control if they show each other their answers. Okay, so that's a question. Next one, I'm just going to go click on that little plus sign. That adds another screen. These are called screens. Okay, I'm going to add another screen. I'm actually just going to add a text input, because lots of the best teachers that I know that use Desmos, they don't pre-plan almost anything. They just go in and they have a bunch of questions just like this, and then as questions come up, they might have a Google Doc on the side. You all can imagine what it would look like if I had I'll just pull this one up. Let's imagine that this is just another random, that this is a blank Google Doc. Okay, so they might have on the side of their screen, like Brett Chanko does this. Yeah, exactly. So he would just have his screen over here, and then he would type like number one. I'll say it in English, but this is a ridiculous question. What is your, I don't know, name, your favorite animal, whatever the case may be. Now, I apologize because I didn't format all of this, but you get the idea. And then students would know on slide number one, they answer that. So you have to do nothing ahead of time. You just hop in. You could just have your students, if you want to give it a test run, just have your students jump into Desmos, which I'll show you how in a minute, in about 20 minutes. And you could have your normal lesson, but just ask them the question through Desmos would be a way to just give it a shot. I'm just kind of speaking without really having planned this out regards to that. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, but this screen, what I want to show you, this is really neat. You also don't have to go in and keep creating new screen. If you have one you like and you just want a blank input, you can go Control. On a Mac, it's Command C. I believe on a PC, it's Control C. Control C, I've selected this, and I just go Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, so I've got 4 questions there. They're all created. Now, someone, if you want, you might even say, you know what? For everyone, I just want to have an option 1, an option 2, and an option 3. And I might, or maybe even an option 4. And I'm just going to leave that on every single question, because sometimes I like to ask either or questions or multiple choice or whatever the case may be. And I just want to say, okay, class, what's your favorite animal, or which animal do you like best? Cats, dogs, birds, or fish? right in Desmos right now, click on number 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll ask you all that question when we come back. So anyways, that's another thing you can do. So you could also just create a blank multiple choice here, or you could create a blank checkbox. And if you want to delete any of these, like I wanted to do checkbox instead of multiple choice, all you have to do is click here, click on this little delete component. Okay, so I'm going to just create a random checkbox one. Let's again just say A, B, C. And then for the fourth one, I'm just going to show you how this works. You can add an image as one of the checkboxes. So I'm just going to, I don't even know what this is. This is something that okay, it's not going to make any real sense, but just to show you can see how it would work. Now, if you want to see what this looks like from the student perspective, just click up here on preview. And this will what it look like for the student, A, B, C, or D. Okay, now let's go back. I should have shown you what these will look like too. So this from a student perspective, which you're going to see anyways, this is what the first question would look like. This one, the multiple choice, from the student perspective, this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's another question. Now let's go sketch. Next question. So all I have to do is go down here, click on sketch, add my instructions here. You can add a background image if you want them to draw over something like we did earlier with when I mentioned that you could have a picture of the park. You can add a background image as well. It's super easy. I'll just keep this as that's all there is in this question. Just trying to show you a bunch of different options. Okay, card sort. So let's do a card sort real quick. I showed you all card sort on the other one. I'm going to go click here plus, down here card sort. Now you can either have them match up an image to a text or text to text. Just to keep it simple, I'll just do text to text. So it'll be like 1, and then on one card, and then 1 corresponds with the letter A. Actually, let's add a couple more. 1, 2, and then 2 corresponds with the letter B. And then I want to create an answer key. So I want for Desmos to tell me if the students got it right or not. Boom, answer key is created. That's it, student preview. This is what it'll looks like. And then you can make it so that it self-checks or not. That's a little bit more complicated. That'll probably take you 2 or 3 minutes to learn. You just have to watch I can create a quick video showing you how to do that. Okay, last thing I wanted to show you, and this is really neat. You know how a few minutes ago we were looking at, let me go back and see where I had this. We were looking at the templates. Shoot, sorry, team. The templates. Of course, I won't be able to find it. I think it's probably right here. There it is. So you can copy screens from other activities that you've created in the past. You can do that a couple of different ways. You can either go into the activity and say, edit your activity. And let me open another window so that I can go back. So you'll see that all of the screens will pop up here. And let's say I want to add as the first question, this draw how you're feeling right now. All I have to do is I just hit Command C, copy it, go back to this Desmos builder, and you know what? I want it at the beginning. So I'm going to Command V, and I'm going to drag it over. Okay, and let's see. I think I'd like a couple of other questions because I want to ask you all some questions. Yeah, I've already done that one. Let's see. How about the question? How about the question related to, is there anything that you'd like to share with me? No. Yeah, what did you think of today's lesson? Let's add that one. Let's see, Jen, let me get to that. So did I Command C it? I might not have copied it. Command C, and then I go back here. Oh, that's odd. I can hear my laptop is working a little bit. It doesn't look like it's creating it. Well, let me show you the other way to do it. It's a good opportunity. If you go here, and this is the preview screen, so I'm not actually editing it. If I go here, I can go to this screen and then click on that, and I can copy this screen, and I can copy it, and then I can paste it in here. So let's see, Jen, Organizationally, do you have banks of screens similar to your collection of check-ins? Yes. Yes, I do, definitely. That's actually what I created this check-in thing for. What I created this check-in and closing for is because this, if you can see here, this would be during the write and discuss. If you're using stepping stones, this would be afterwards. I just have them translate a couple of the sentences, but I've switched it up during the course of the year. This is the reading workshop. So I just go in here, click on the copy, and then, yeah, definitely, I'd be glad to. Definitely will share that with you all. So, de nada. That's it. So I have that in there. I'll just delete it actually. So the next thing we have to do, and then I'll jump into creating classes and I'll assign this. I'm going to create a class with you all in it, and then I'll share it and we can walk through this. All you have to do is make sure you click on publish. It's basically saving it / allowing you to assign it to a class or classes. Okay. Now I have saved this demo, Desmos Demo 1223. And what I'm going to do now is show you all how to create classes. And I'll create a class and then I'm going to share that link with you. So let's go up here to manage classes. And I'm going to open this up in another window, I think. Let me open another window so then I can just pop back more easily. And if you all want to create your classes with me right now, you're welcome to. It will just take 1 minute. While I'm waiting, this is, I think, my computer's issue. One thing I'll say is normally all I have open on my screen when students come in is this page. It says visit student.desmos.com. Once they have created an account, once you have given them their class code and they have joined into your class, then it'll automatically take them to a list of assignments, most recent to least recent. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, manage classes. If you all want to do this, you can. I'm going to add a class just called Desmos Demo, again, 1223. And you can do this. You would just add, you can see my classes, day 1, block 1, day 1, block 2, day 1, block 4, etc. Now, in the chat, I'm going to copy the class code like this, copy. Now, I'm going to put it in the chat in just a second. This is what you would do with your students on the first day that you use that. Only the first day you use this. This is what you would need to do with them. So here it is in the chat. So if you all want to hop in, and then you'll see that this class roster will start populating with your names or with numbers of students. And then I'll assign the activity we just created to your class. So right now I can see 2 students are in. So it just pops up right away. Oops. No. So 4 students. And not everybody has to do it, but it'll be helpful if a few are, which we have a few now. Okay, so now the class has been created. I go back to this demo that I had created before, that we created together. And then I just go to assign. So assign to your classes. Now I'm going to assign, but before I forget, this is an important thing that took me a couple of days or times using this to figure out. Remember how we had to click publish in order to have the activity saved? Well, if you edit an activity after you have assigned it to students, it will keep the prior activity. It won't update to the new edit into the new activity until you unassign that and then reassign it to the class. Not a big deal. It's not I haven't found it to be that much of a hassle, but what I have found is I almost always just assign it to my first class or two, and then after I inevitably have a way I could make that activity better. And because of the way my planning works out, I spend like 5 minutes changing it around, and then I assign it to all the rest of my classes. Do it with, obviously do it however you want. And many of you are going to do the easy, probably the smart way, which is just create blank questions like Brett does. For me, I'm do much better in a structured environment, knowing exactly what my students are going to be doing, but then giving them freedom within that structure. Not to say that Brett doesn't do that as well. For me, having these slides with stuff in them is easier, is better. But everyone's different, right? So let's go back here. Good, I've got 11 of you in. I'm gonna go back to this Desmos thing, Desmos page, Desmos Demo, that's a mouthful, and I'm gonna assign it to the class. Okay, so now, I've never opened a student.desmos.com page and a teacher.desmos.com page, but I think it should work. So please now, on another tab, go to student.desmos.com. And the reason I'm having you do it this way is because if you do it this way, you don't have to share a link with a new link for the activity every single time. You can, as soon as you add the activity, it shows up. So let's see here. I am going to, now I've got so many windows open. Sorry about this, team. So I'm going to go to this view activity history. Great. I'm going to click into this Desmos Demo 1223, and now you all are going to see what it looks like from both the student end on your side and the teacher end on my side. Okay, great. So excellent. Could everybody please, I'm going to lock you all into this first question by clicking on pacing, and number 1, I'm going to restrict you to screen 1. If you want to, you don't have to, but just, answer this question. If you want to write how you're feeling, go ahead, great. But you'll see what it would look like if I were silly enough
Good. What are you doing?
to leave this unanonymized. So I'm going to anonymize it right now.
Okay. Can you turn some lights on?
And
all of a sudden it got dark. I'm on a webinar.
Nadia, I'm going to just, yep, there we go. So you would see what it would look like if I didn't anonymize them, but I can anonymize them 99% of the time. No, not 90% of the time, students don't see each other's answers, right? 90% of the time, I have this screen. Actually, what I normally have, full disclosure, I normally have 2 screens with Desmos. I have this screen on my iPad next to my laptop, and then I have a different view of it. I have this view up on my monitor. That's a lot for a lot of people, and it took me weeks to get used to it, but it's nice because I can see question by question where everyone is. Okay, and I can see their specific answers. Great, excellent, excellent, super emocionada, hey, excelente, whoa, SpongeBob, that is awesome. I love your drawings, wonderful. So I'm gonna show you now how to pace students into several questions. So let's say I wanna pace you into questions 1 through, oops, sorry. Go back here, 1 through 3. Restrict to question to 1 through 3. Great. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try this. Not done it before, but I'm going to open 2 windows so you can see what I might see on my iPad, and then what I also would see if you only have 2 screens. Good question. I think what I would do is just have, you will just probably end up toggling back and forth. And it's not a big deal, not a problem at all. Because what you can easily just click here, summary, teacher. It's just like slightly easier for me to be able to see them both. But just so you all can see the 2 screens that are available. Again, I've not done this before. So if it doesn't work, my apologies, but I think it will. Because that's the cool thing about Desmos. It's really fast and super simple. You can see it's bare bones, which I love. Personally, I really appreciate. Okay, so I've got, yep, it works. The 2 different screen options. Hopefully this is making sense. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move everybody to question 3. I'm going to go here, question 3. In question 3, can you just, no, I didn't want question 3. I forgot which one that was. Question 4, what was question 4? I think this should just be a blank space for you all. Question 4, can you just tell me if I'm going too fast, or if I'm going at an okay speed? Do I need to slow down? Does anybody have any questions? Okay, great. So what I would, if I almost 100, whenever I show this, I almost always anonymize. So good, no problem, okay pace, you're going at okay speed. Hopefully you can see that what I see on this screen is what you're typing word for word. Okay, so much better than doing it in the chat because I have all of your answers. And over on this screen, I can see, Awesome, Thomas. Awesome, Joseph. Well, let me go back to unanonymized because on this screen, I normally don't. It's off to the side. So this is when I say people's names. Wendy, great. Thank you so much, Rose. Inger, great. Hillary, wonderful. Lori, Lauren, great. And then if I see someone who hasn't responded, I'd be like, John, I don't see your response. Is everything okay? Imagine how powerful this is. Okay, awesome. You know, Wendy, thank you so much for answering number 1. That's great. I have one student that's answered that question. It wouldn't make any sense for you all to have answered that question because it was a blank question, but you get what I'm saying. That's what I would do with my students. Okay, so let's, I want to try and show you new things. Let's go over to number 5. And if you could write one question, I think number 5 is also a space. If you could write one question that you would like to ask me, and I probably won't answer it until the end, but just one question. If you have a question. All right, and now I'm gonna pump faked y'all, right? This is what, I just paused it. So right now, no problem, Andy. Right now, you can't type anything. So I'm in the middle of input. I don't want my students writing their answers. I don't want them just going off and being, trying to answer a question before I've given them the chance to. So I apologize. It is annoying. I don't do it often with my students. I never do it in the middle, or almost never. So sorry, but I just wanted to show you what it would look like. So go ahead. If you have any more questions, you can finish writing the question, and I'll come back to this. Well, looks like I can answer most of these. Is it free? 100% free. I was shocked by it. I put it on the Desmos page, Desmos Educators, which is almost all math teachers. They have a Facebook page. I posted it on there. Turns out that they make most of their money through, you're welcome, make most of their money through endorsements, or not, through relationships with like Pearson and different testing, different companies, and through states, because apparently they are the official math calculator for 20 some odd states across the country. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and look at the questions. How can I create the graph that looks like an axis but is really a temperature check of how someone's feeling? Hillary, I don't know. I've only just copied and pasted other people's there, but it'll be super simple. Once I share the template, you just go in there and you can play with it and you'll figure it out really quickly. Because I think assuming that it is easy to change, which I think it is, it'll be straightforward. Are there folders? How do you organize your classes? Great question. Why don't I just show you? Yeah, I'll go to my main teacher.desmos.com page. I know I said I would answer these at the end, but these are great questions. Teacher.desmos.com. What you'll see is class. I'm going to answer, I'm not 100% positive what question you're asking, so I'll answer 2 different questions. If you want to see your classes, you can go here. If you want to see the activities that each of your classes have done, you click here. So you can see this was all the same activity, or 15, the 15th and 18th of December, I assigned that activity to 3 different classes. The 17th, I assigned to 3 different classes. Now, if you go down here, I assigned this activity to 6 different classes. And now if I wanted to go in and see students' answers, which I'm not going to do just because I don't have an anonymized and I don't want to show my students, well, whatever. Hold on one second. Let me take this off the screen, anonymize it, and then I'll show you what it might look like. Just a second. I think because I don't know, slow internet, it's taking a minute. Okay. Anonymize. All right. So then if I clicked in it, I could see all of the students, which questions that they had answered, which questions. This little check mark means they got it right because I did an answer key. The little dot just means they completed it. And the blank space means they didn't do anything. So, so the beauty of this is if you want to grade them at the end of class, what I do is, well, when students answer in my class and they're engaged, that's 100. I don't, to me, it's more important that they're trying and that they're working towards it. So if they have engaged and answered and tried to answer all of the questions, full credit. So all I do is make a note of students that write something, but don't write anything thoughtful. They don't really show me that they were understanding. So I have a spreadsheet, and I might have, of the whole class, 5 students on a question that really didn't give much thought to it, but wrote something. Otherwise, if they didn't do it at all, I don't have to put anything if they didn't do it at all, because I can just go back to this end screen and see all of my students' answers for all of the questions. Now, I oftentimes don't have this many questions. It's because we're matching that there are this many. So, but I think I was answering the question about how do I organize all of this. So let's see. That's how I showed you how I organize it from the class perspective. I hope that answered your question, but if it didn't, you can just let me know, and I will. Where do I teach? I teach Spanish 2 and 4 in Richmond, Virginia, outside of Richmond, Virginia. Yes, it's free. Have you tried Movie Talk with this? Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, I feel like a evangelist, which is what my wife and family told me today. I'm a Desmos Evangelist. That it is amazing for every activity I've tried it for. It has been wonderful. Assessments, check-ins, reflections, movie talk, reading, any sort of input. So, and Lori, I'll come back to your question in just a second. I want to make sure I've answered all these. All right, great. Lori is asking a question in the chat. I know you said somewhere that you switched from holding up index cards for things like this, the Super 7, to having tabs open simultaneously. Are you projecting that for your kids in class? Yeah, I don't think I have it open right now, but what it would look like is I would have in this window over here is where I would have the Super 7, all those verbs. It would be a Google Doc. So it would be a Google Doc here with all of that. I don't think that I saved it. Maybe I did. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah. So let's see. Grammar. I would have it open in this window over here as I'm presenting. This part of the screen over here would be the part where I'm doing the presentation. If we're doing a movie talk, we're watching the movie. If we're doing slides, it would be over on this side. And then on this side, I would have a tab here with the grammar and then a tab here with vocab that I would pop back and forth to, depending on what I'm using. Let's say we want to go over the verb. I don't do a lot of grammar, but I do pop-up grammar. The verb decir. So, okay, okay, guys, this is how you conjugate decir, whatever. Okay. Yeah, so there's another question. It says, I think that you said you can create screens on the fly, but do you typically have? Yes, I always have my screens pre-created because it's good for me, not because it's best by any stretch of the imagination. I would not say that that's the best way to do it. All right, so let's go just do a little bit more so you all can see what this looks like. I'm going to totally open it up. And if you want to, you can just you're not going to be able to answer any questions until you get to number. Actually, let's go to number 8, and I'm going to pace you to number 8. You can see why pacing is so important because students almost never have to do. Sometimes I'll paste them into a number of questions so that they can, I'll paste them into a number of matching questions so they can go back and check their work. But oftentimes it'll just be 1 or 2 questions. And this makes it very obvious to me. Let's go over to this screen. I can see quickly who is actually on my screen. Just out of curiosity, Rose or somebody, could one of you click out, just go into another window so that your Desmos window isn't live? I have the suspicion that this will turn off being dark blue. So like Rose or Hillary or whomever, can you go to a different page? I'm not sure what it does here. Okay, it looks like probably okay. It looks like it doesn't change it. I don't know exactly. I can tell you're in a different tab. It might be, I don't want to ask you to close it. It might be once you close the tab, this turns to white because every once in a while my students this won't have the blue highlight around it. And I know that means they're not with me at all. So actually, let's try this. I'm going to go to, if a couple of you, if maybe Wendy, Rose, and Hillary, if you can just stay on slide 8. I don't know if you can do this or not, but I'm going to bump everyone to slide 9, but just don't move. All right, cool. Yeah, Inger, you see it? So this is the beauty. Just left, and you can see that Inger is no longer following along. Now, Inger, if you log back in, if you go to, again, just go to student.desmos.com, click in there, it should then pop up right there as you being with us. And I can see exactly who is with me, who is not, where they are. Okay, I think that is most of what I wanted to show you. Awesome, you're back, and you're back. Can you all see now how Inger is back there? Which is beautiful, right? Because there's no guessing as to who's with you. Now, not only that, yeah, it is. It's totally beautiful. It's amazing. Not only that, but let's go back and just play for a minute so you can see the power of this. I don't remember what question I created here. You know, I would always at least have a text that I would, for me, I would probably have something that said at least escribe, so that as a teacher, I know what I'd put there. But again, that takes no time. So I'm going to paste us back to question 6. And will you please write if you all have any pets and what you like about your pets? So on this screen, I'm going to have the dots. And on this screen, I'm going to see your answers for question 6. Dos gatos, great. All right, Wendy has 2 cats. Rose doesn't. Hillary has an incredible amount of pets. Hillary, can you write what pets you have, please? Or at least how many? Lori, because that 2 cats. All right, Lori has a Great Dane. Lauren has a dog. Ursula has dos gatos y un perro. Pam has 2 cats. I have a cat named Elsie. Awesome. Stephanie, Nydia, I apologize if I'm saying you're wrong. No pet at this time. Estoy triste. Oh, I'm sorry. Jennifer, I have a dog named Sammy and a cat named Rascal. So on a constantly, I am reading off students' answers without them being able to see. So I'm constantly, or if I'm not reading their answers, I'm constantly, awesome. I'm constantly saying, good job, good job, good job, good job, which if you're a student who isn't doing it, you know immediately that I know that you're not doing it. And I have no qualms with saying to students, because I'm so positive all class, hey, Inger, is everything okay? You did respond, but is everything okay? I don't see a response there. You know, just check in, send me a chat. Let me know if you're having tech issues, right? Keep it positive, keep it going, keep it moving, but also you tell the students you don't know. I probably say every one of my students' names, I don't know, I'm guessing here, 5 to 10 times a class. Before I was using this, I would say their names a couple of times a class because I would be looking at the Google chat, but it's so much harder. I would have no idea until after class how many students had done this. After class, I created this spreadsheet and I could see like how many responses they had done. But what do I do after class? Hey, John, waste all my time sending an email to this student saying, would you please check in, right? It does. It makes it like a real class. Okay, I'm about to start crying because it literally, like, it will change. For me, it has changed this to feel like school. You know, like, I want to use this. I can't imagine not using this even when we're in person, because the power of being able to see what every student is doing versus before, even when I was in person, best case scenario, I really knew what 50% of my students were doing. And who knows if the other students are just going like this and smiling, right? I don't know until the end of class because I can't constantly look at their papers, but I can constantly look at this. And what I might have them do is shut your laptop, pop it back open, shut your laptop, pop it back open. But I will always be using this. Do you ever have issues who are copying and pasting? Yes, but I don't think there's a real way to prevent Google Translate. What I will say that I constantly do is if I've had them write in Spanish, I will, not constantly, I will sometimes anonymize, read a couple of the answers, get to the Google Translate. Shishoku, you know, obviously that's not your name, but they can see on their name who they've been anonymized to. If you look on your screen, you should be able to see what your name is now. Or Ada. Oh, Ada, you know, that looks it. I really like your ideas here, but I can tell that you've used Google Translate. Boom. Everybody knows I can tell who's using Google Translate. Please just go redo that in your own words. You know, I want to see how you can do. Remember, you don't get any credit if you do a Google Translate. So it's like, I keep saying like, it's the best way I know of to have a check on Google Translate, because you can also see if they're typing in letter by letter or if they go boop and it auto populates with 7 sentences. something strange happened there, right? Because if you want to mess around a little bit, just add some text in and you'll see. Like whoever wants to, you can just say, oh, can say whatever you want right now. And Hillary is writing 2 cats inside, 3 horses. Oh my gosh, 65 cows and 21 feral cats. That's amazing. But can you see how I can create a sense of community here without, in 50 minutes, I can start to get to know all of you if I ask questions like this. And that's what I suggest you do. One of the things that I've been like leaning into a little bit more recently has been asking questions that stimulate conversations, even if it's in English for a couple of minutes, because I can so quickly respond to and start and then I can spin that conversation off into Spanish or know what they're actually interested in. So I am going to stop. That is, oh, you know something actually I'm going to show you all, a bonus that I just found out yesterday was, or the day before, and I'm going to have to remember how to do this. Oh, right here. If you want to highlight some students' answers, let's say I'm on the other screen. I have this off again, like I almost always do. And so I'm looking at their answers. And I love Hillary's answer. I want to showcase that one. And I love a bunny. Inger has a bunny. I just click on this little thing. It says Snapshot Captured. I've never used this, but I think this is how it works. Yep, snapshots. Okay, then I just want to, and I can anonymize these, right? And then I just want to drag the snapshot. Oh, I want to show what these 2 students did. That was such cool work. Amazing. I've never used this, like I said, but I just found it and it looks like it's going to be a game changer, another game changer, because you can highlight their answers as you're going. Or, and then, let's get rid of those, boom, boom. And then I'm sure you can delete them here, just like everything. Yep. Okay, so someone did a great writing a sample. Wonderful. Someone used Google Translate. That stinks. Let's just highlight that. How could we tell this? How could we tell that? Let me unanonymize it. It's more fun to talk. How could we tell that Pam Google translated how to say I have a cat? Well, look, she said I have a cat and it keeps me warm. That's a bad one because it's all in the present tense, but you get what I'm saying. You could easily go back through. Yeah, so that's pretty much, why don't we go back to another question that you all didn't answer. Oh, I guess I didn't create any that you didn't answer. That's why it's always good to have a couple of extra slides so you can just on the fly do something like this. But why don't we go back to the question about where I said, do you have any questions? Which was, no, I don't know why I'm saying that to you. I'll move you all back to question 5 now that I know which one it is. And if you want to delete your prior question, if I already answered it, and if I didn't, just leave it there. And if you want to ask any other questions, just ask the questions there. Again, noticing that you can see who is, as soon as someone starts typing, their little dot pops up by their name on this screen. And here you can see as they're typing what you all are typing. And I'm going to look also in the chat because there were a couple of comments. Yeah, that snapshot and anonymized feature is incredible. I know it is. And then, so once you anonymize, you can always have the names back. Yep, look, anonymize, unanonymize, anonymize. And the cool thing is, check out over on this screen. So sometimes I'm looking at it on another screen, but I will know that you have to keep in mind that when you unanonymize it in one page, it does it in both if you had multiple ones open. So this is amazing. No questions right now. Woohoo! Awesome. So glad, Wendy. Inger, no questions now. Are there folders? Oh, where do you teach? Oh, okay. Where did I answer that one? How about asynchronous? Asynchronous, this is a good tool, but I would not say it's superior to, the only way I would say it's better than Google Forms is that you can see the dots at the end, but students could pretty quickly figure that out and just put like a letter in each space. You know, I would say it could be similar to a Google form in that you can create your questions ahead of time. You can, as long as you do not have this paste, I'm going to stop the pacing. Students, you just share this, you share the link with them, or you just tell them to go into student.desmos.com and they should and complete the most recent activity, and it would just show up to them like it does to you, like I have it right now, so that students could go through any question they wanted and answer. So what you can do is have your asynchronous students just complete these. What I have my students do, I only have one asynchronous student. Probably if I had asynchronous students, what I would do is have a hard deadline, um, a hard date that they had to have everything in on, and then I would just check it all that date. And then I would say, 2 weeks late, because it does take a little bit of time to go through and read all of these, of course. But that's the same thing I would do with a Google form. Jen said, I tried it out yesterday, today, asynchronously, just to test it out. It was cool, but I see how powerful it would be to be live. Yeah, for all the live is where the beauty is, in the live portion of this. Okay, no questions now. Yeah. Show again, please, how you can tell if a student is in another tab. Okay, it looks like I can't tell if they're in another tab. It looks like I can only tell if they accidentally logged out. And we can play with this a little bit. Most of you are still on question 5, but if you want to, maybe Wendy and Rose and Ingrid. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Hillary's moving on. And then Hillary, if you would maybe see what happens. Probably nothing happens if you go to another tab, is my guess, just based on what we just messed around with, what we just saw with Ingrid, right? So we're all learning here. Hillary, you're in another tab, Hillary. Okay, you're on question 7. Yeah, and Nadia, you should be able to see, if you look over on this screen, I can see where you are. I can see you're on 7. I can see Hillary is on 7 or on another tab after clicking. She's gone to 7 and then clicked out. I should say, team, I apologize. Normally I say my pronouns. I use him, he, him, his pronouns. And I apologize. I didn't ask you all to say your pronouns, so I may be calling you, some of you, by the wrong pronouns. I apologize. So would one of, Hillary, maybe, are you on a different tab now altogether? Yeah, okay. Hillary, would you mind just logging out or closing the Desmos altogether, so we can all see what this looks like? When a student closes Desmos altogether, I think it should pop off and no longer be highlighted. You're in and went to, yeah, Inger, I opened it all, so you should be able to go into number 9. Yep. And I don't know. Again, I've not played with this with my students, so I'm not 100% positive. But my thought is that this should no longer highlight once Hillary does it. It doesn't. At the end of the day, I don't use that all that much. What I almost always use is pacing, and I just paste students in somewhere, and then I know that where they are when they are there. All right, weird. I went to bed. I'm not blue for. Yeah, exactly. Inger's asking. Weird. I'm on number 9. But I'm not blue for 5 or 6. Yes, you only see the question that your students are on, which is kind of a cool function. So let me show you. If you all just want to play around, like move around in the document, I, as a teacher, can see on which question everybody's on. Where might this be valuable? Well, if you give students you're completely out now, Hillary. Hillary, I don't know. I'm not really sure why it's showing it that way. Honestly, I don't know when it turns to light or not. Thank you for doing that. You can log back in. Just go to student.desmos.com and you should be able to jump in. Yep, Jen, you're in number 3. I can see that, Jen. Yep, and I can see that Pam's in number 3. I can see Nydia's on number 2. I can see Lori's on 5 still. Lauren's on 5. I can see Hillary's on 7 now. So Hillary must have been, so I was going to say gotten back in. Rose is on 8. So you can see how it is. Now I want to stop everyone from moving around. Boom, now you can't move. Okay, I'm going to go back to the question. I'll open it back up just in case you want to play with it and see what it looks like on that screen. But I'm going to go back and make sure I have answered these questions. How are responses saved? They automatically get saved. Students don't have to click submit. You don't have to do anything to save their answers. I don't even know why, but there is a submit button for students, but you can see immediately what they're writing. How about asynchronous? Can you import Google Slides into Desmos? No, you can't import Google Slides, but what you can do is what I showed before, which is essentially taking a screenshot of it. But that's not, I don't think that's what you're asking. But no, you can't do that, unfortunately. It's not like Pear Deck, which integrates with Google Slides. I've never really used Pear Deck. I mean, I've given it a second. X, okay, so good question. X means that it's wrong, I guess. Let me see. I've forgotten. X must mean that you just went to it and you didn't complete it. Yep, it's incorrect. Thanks, Jen. So if once you complete it, look on this screen, the summary screen, a little checkbox goes there. So that just says that it was right. I was a little confused because you all haven't answered it, but it must be once you go on to that, if you don't match them correctly, then it shows it as having been wrong. So if you all want to play and go to number 9, actually I can bounce just so you can see again the power of bouncing students around. You can have students go to number 9, and then as you do it, I on my screen can see how many of these you have gotten correct, how many of you've gotten wrong. I already created a card sort to how to, and I put it in the Google Doc. I put Jamboard slides. Oh, cool. Hillary, do you want to say more about how you did it? Hillary just said, for those of you who are watching the recording, Hillary just said, I put Jamboard slides in a Desmos activity too. Do you mean that you've copied? You can unmute yourself if you want, or you probably haven't used Google Meet much. It's down. If you go to the bottom of the page, you click on the Google Meet.
There we go.
Yep, you got it.
You can hear me now. Okay. The way I did it, I can just kind of give you a rundown of the activity. It was, I'm very off the cuff CI. I liken myself to a stand-up comedian, I guess, or an improv comedian. So we went off the rails into talking about sleeping preferences. And so I pulled up a Jamboard really quickly, had them all illustrate on each individual slide their sleeping arrangement, and then I went in and just clicked on each slide, and it gives you the option to download as a JPEG. And so I downloaded it to my computer as a JPEG and then uploaded it as an image into Jamboard with a like a text entry box so that we can go in and do a write and discuss as the students share about their sleeping arrangement.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And it was very easy. I mean, it took 2 seconds. So
if you don't, no pressure. If you want, if any of you have used Desmos and are interested, it would be great if you all could just record like examples of you doing it, because then we can all learn from each other. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. I can go to school and where I live on the farm, I don't have internet. I don't know how I can do these meets seamlessly, but I will make a note right now. Awesome. And I'll show it. It's really simple.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to make sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, gladly. How do you do a movie talk? So I will, Jen, the way I'll do a real quick answer. The way I normally do movie talk is I front load it with screenshots, talk through it. And then what I've been doing then is I normally then let the students watch the movie. So I don't pause it as much but that's just my own personal preference. You can do it however you want. And the way that I use Desmos is I would have for each slide, I would have them somehow show me what they understand, or maybe a selection of slides. So, let's say that I had a presentation with images of a movie and I had already written a couple of slides. Hillary has amazing ones of these, but had already written a bunch of text at the bottom. I might make... Oh no, so Jen, the way I would do it is just, I don't put a lot of images into Desmos. The way I would do it, let me just see if I can pull this up so you can see. You can imagine, you don't have to imagine, you can see. I don't know if it's gonna, okay, it's not gonna find really quick, but imagine that I have a presentation over here and I would be sharing the presentation with my students here. And then on Desmos, I would have written something like, okay, cool. All right, you got it. I would, in Desmos, I would have something like, write a summary of slides 1 through 5 in English. Write one question in Spanish. However you do your CI or teach your language. So I think that's pretty much it. If you all want to add any more questions, if you want to stick around and ask questions, I'm glad to stick around for another 10 minutes or so. This has already run longer than I thought. So just feel free. I'm going to actually move us over to the last slide, which is, what did you think of today's lesson? you don't actually have to do it, but I always ask students to reflect on the class at the end. And I always ask them how much they understood and etc. But you don't have to say more about your choice or anything like that. But if you have a question, pop it in there and I will do my best to answer it. And otherwise, I hope you all consider recording videos, sharing once you all start using it, or if you're already using it, because that's how we learn. We learn from each other. I'm doing a retreat, a heartfulness, mindfulness retreat for the next 9 days or so. And one of my goals is to not use Facebook very much. So I probably won't be there to answer many questions, but there's so many other people that have used this on there that can answer any questions that you might have. You're welcome. De nada. Great, Jen. I'm so glad that you all are enjoying it. Excellent. Adios. Adios. You're welcome, Nadia. You are welcome. I hope you. De nada, Rose. Rose, adios. Adios. I hope you all have a great day and a great break. And I will hang out here for anybody that would like any more help. You're welcome, Anastasia. So let me make sure. Hey, muy bien. You are welcome, Lori. Next up, Lori. I don't know if you're still. Yeah, Lori, you're still here. Real quick, good news. Your school may already have it approved because many schools already have this. You're welcome, Andy. Many schools already have this approved for their math teachers because, like I said, about half the states in the country use this as their math, the program for their standardized tests. And so most of the schools within those states have it already approved, which is awesome. And my school has Class Kick. I don't know, Lauren, is Lauren still here? No, I can't see the bottom. I don't know if Lauren's still here, but that same thing applies to her. So helpful. Great, Pam. Okay, great. Hey, great, Jen. Gracias. Y a usted también. Adios, Jen. Adios, bye. Lori, can you share your check-in? Yeah, definitely. I don't know if Lori, yeah, Lori, you're still here. I'll just share it right now, and I'll also share it I'm going to share it with the group on Facebook. I'm going to go on Facebook in just a minute and just share the recording as well. But it seems like I'm going to stop the recording, but I'll stay on. Let's see, stop the recording. And Lori, I will grab that for you.